A coworker showed up 2 hours late. Last night, I was supposed to get off work at 10 or 10:30 p.m. One of my coworkers was scheduled to come in around that time. When he had not showed up by 10:30, I sent a text to the company group chat asking where he was. No response. I telephoned one of the supervisors. The coworker who was supposed to come in never called or texted. Nothing to let anyone know what time he would be there. And his phone was turned off. So I had to keep calling the manager's number again and again. So, he finally just waltzed in the door around midnight. And when I asked him why he was so late, he just said coldly, "None of your business." So, I left. But once I had made preparations to leave, the manager told me that even if he had not showed up, if no one had showed up, I would have just had to suck it up and work a 16-hour shift, with no food and no sleep. Because, according to her, I've had to cover for coworkers who did not call or show up 50 times over the course of a couple of years. 50 times? I've worked at this company for about 7 months. And yes, I know it is not normal for people to no call, no show that often. That she has had to cover for others 50 times. If that statement was true, I am now left wondering just what kind of dysfunctional company I have signed up for. My question is, should I just bow out gracefully? Or no? Next time, lock the door and go home. It is the manager's responsibility to find coverage, not yours. Clock out and head out. Call boss. My scheduled shift is over and I'm heading home. If you want me to work another shift, it will cost you $. AKA, fuck you. Pay me. Quote. Also, your coworker is right that it's not your business why they were late. It's also not your business to make sure there's coverage. You do your shift and nothing else, unless adequately compensated for the inconvenience. A company that treats you like that is not worth working for. Self-worth pride should tell you to tell them to stick it. Unless you work in some type of setting that cannot be left unattended, such as a group home for people with disabilities or a hospital. Next time, lock the doors and leave when your shift is over. Make sure you text the group chat with that info. Hi, it's OP. I worked from 2. It is now. I have stayed an extra 15 minutes and nobody has shown up to replace me. I'm going home as my shift is over. I once worked at a municipal facility that had to be manned 24 hours in case there was a plant alarm. The pay was good enough that there were few job hops, and openings were rare. That being said, for a variety of reasons, there was a few months where we had 2 guys leave. Even with high pay, it was hard to find replacements due to minimum qualifications being a hard floor. I was working 18 hours a day, and between midnight and 4 o'clock, I would sleep in the office chair sitting halfway upright. The lights were out, but I was in the office in case an alarm went off. A coworker decided he wanted to sabotage me, and even though I was unfireable, he dropped hints that I was sleeping on the job all night. To be clear, when we had 12-hour shifts and it was my turn to work the night shift, I never napped at work. So one night the boss comes in extra early and catches me sleeping in the office chair with the lights off. He acts unhappy, and the next day he writes me up. I was unfireable, but also I can get another job since few people have my quals at the time. That doesn't mean I can't be punished in some way. I remind my boss that he had been signing my time cards for a couple months and cannot claim he didn't know I was working 18 hours a day. Here's the thing. He was violating OSHA regs along with Labor Department regs. The fact that he couldn't find anyone to hire is irrelevant. Anyways, my punishment was a written reprimand. And I accepted it with no hassles because I understood he had to do something. At that point I had been drawing obscene paychecks with all the OT. And I would have welcomed a week off. Sounds like you work at front desk in a hotel? I've been there before. Here's the thing, I've heard of people who put up the back in a bit sign at the desk and leave at shift change. I think you played yourself here. You should have just locked up and went home after your shift was over. There is no reason to overcomplicate it. Lock up and go at end of shift. Especially for the jerk coworker. SMS the manager. Who cares if their phone is off? The details and say X no showed. But you've locked the place up to keep it safe. If you get blamed, say it was X that created the problem by not turning up to their shift. Ignore that 16-hour shift. If you have enough financial security, tell her that you're not doing a 16-hour shift with no food and sleep. They're not paying you anywhere enough for that. If you don't have the financial security, I'd let it go. But I'd still lock up on a no-show. Staffing is their concern, not yours. Covering for employees who do not show is your supervisor, manager's job. This is why they make more money and have more power and responsibility. I am a supervisor. I have done my share of doubles due to this. She's the manager. It's literally her job to cover if her workers no show. Might be a nursing or long-term care facility. Not easy to just lock up and go home. Not your problem. Lock up and leave. It's not your responsibility to stay. Unless it's some life safety type of job. You are free to kick the door and leave. However, I would assume that would probably be your last shift there unless you are union. Sounds like a dumpster fire of a manager. You gotta leave, you lock it and leave. Sounds like a bad manager. Nope. Just say no. The manager needs to manage the worker who is supposed to be working. Not on you. Op. 50 times? Hell no. Just plain wrong. Management obviously doesn't care, so why should you? We have a severe worker shortage and a better company will appreciate an employee like you. Give your notice and tell them why. When your time is up, your time is up. You lick the doors and go home, letting all concerned what you are doing and why you are doing it. This comes under the "if you're not here it's not my problem" part of the work rule book. Leave. They'll take advantage again and again. It's the store manager's job to work shifts that people don't show. This was the downside of being the store manager, but we all know it when we sign up for it. If your manager has worked 50+ times over a couple years, they suck at their job. I was retail store manager for 2 decades and I didn't have to cover even close to 50 shifts in that amount of time.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.